He's gonna be okay, guys.
No, Samson, get back in the bed.
I just need some air. I need some air.
Samson, now is not
Wait.
the time.
No, get back in.
I remember he tries to just walk right out afterwards, and Liz just like, no, get back in there. After all of that, you're just gonna be like, hey, I'm good as new, you know?
Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of TWD Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for today. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of Wasteland World Season 3. This is going to be for episode 4, A Hard Pill to Swallow.
Okay guys, just gonna be doing a video for today. This one's gonna be doing a review for Wasteland World. This one's gonna be doing my review for Season 3, Episode 4, A Hard Pill to Swallow. So, this is another episode of Wasteland World, guys. I cannot even believe that we're actually getting close to, like, what, in my opinion, would be next week the kind of mid-season, double mid-season finale type of, kind of event, which, as you guys, if you guys don't know, next week we're gonna be getting episodes 5 and 6 back-to-back for Wasteland World. So that'll be a lot of fun, but this episode right here, A Hard Pill to Swallow. So, this week's episode was very interesting for me because there was a lot I really liked in this one, and there was a lot that really kind of went down, even though it's probably the most chill episode we've had this season. But it's a very well done episode. It's a very kind of well acted episode. Visually, I think the season always looks great. I think Season 3 is probably the best season when it comes to, like, visual effects. Just visually, how everything looks, and stuff like that. So, this week's episode, we get to focus on, basically, well, we'll start off with the first storyline in this one, which is, Warper. So, obviously, they're dealing with, Buffalo, obviously, after the betrayal, after all that kind of stuff, they're in the, cell, and Warper doesn't want to really kill him right away, and they kind of go for a different twist in this one, which is that they actually vote, instead of Warper actually just executing him. So, they decide to vote him out, which I thought was pretty interesting, and, but they let him live. So, that was pretty interesting right there, and I thought that was an interesting dynamic. But there are some of the characters that are actually plotting against Warper in this one, which I also found to be very interesting. And we'll have to see where that whole kind of, internal threat within Warper's group kind of goes. So that was pretty interesting right there as well, too. Now, with our main group, we get to see Rode, we get to see, obviously, Samson. They take him back. Samson, obviously, after episode 2, with his arm and everything, we've got that stuff going on. We get to see Liz. We get to see Reaper, which I thought was great. And Reaper, I'll say, stood out to me for this episode. So they're going to go get some medical supplies to get for Samson, as Liz kind of tells them to do. And basically, they go out and they run into a new survivor. So pretty interesting. Now, this character's name is Alex, and I thought this was a very interesting kind of decision to see this character. And the reason why I say that is because originally in the comic version, or in the original version of Wasteland, before it became like an actual like Minecraft series, Alex was actually going to be the original Samson, which is pretty interesting. So I remember when I heard that, I'm just like, okay, so that's a pretty fun fact. And I kind of, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, wow, that's pretty insane. So even though this Alex character is just kind of a newcomer for this episode, the original plot for this guy was pretty freaking interesting. So there is that. But basically, he's in this tower. He has lost a lot, obviously. And I remember at first, I'm just seeing this guy in a tower. I'm just like, holy frig, that's the life. But I mean, I guess that's just, I guess, what he was, wanting to do. He sets up in this tower. And I guess in the world of Wasteland World, a tower is like a great place to live. So, that's that. So I guess, yeah, he lives in a tower, and hashtag tower life. So that's that. Pretty interesting stuff there. I remember it kind of just threw me off when I saw that, but yeah. So this Alex guy, he thinks that Rode and them are part of Warper's group. He thinks at first that they're like hunters, and he is kind of, not too sure about them at first. And then, obviously, they go to this hospital, they go to this, like, little like, motel and stuff like that. So, a few kind of scenes here that I could have done without, but it was still really well done, I feel like. And it was still kind of cool to kind of get to know the character, melons, I love melons and stuff like that. So, just some kind of cool scenes with the characters, which I thought was pretty interesting. So, I want to talk about Reaper. So, obviously, his family is in this one, which is probably the second most shocking thing in this episode. We'll get to the first one in a second, but getting to see Reaper's family and then them bail on him like that, wow. So, and then Rode kind of has to convince them that, like, we're your family, we're the ones that you're supposed to be with here in the apocalypse and stuff like that. So, Man, that is a really just kind of, it hit home for me because I wasn't expecting to see too much from Reaper in this episode. I thought he would just kind of be like a side character that we would see kind of like Liz where he's just kind of there. But no, he had some major stuff in this one, and that one in particular having his biggest moment. His family just not really, when they see him, they don't want to be with him. And yeah, that's very, very sad and very tragic for sure. So, developing Reaper into one of my favorite characters, and that is what I really like about this episode. This is probably the best episode he's ever had, I would say, just because of how much we actually delved into his character in this one. And in particular, that moment, I was just like, okay, yeah, this is a pretty tragic story for that character. So, yeah, just absolutely crazy. So they get the supplies, they get back. Samson, obviously, they got, the kind of operation, they have to hold him down and stuff like that. And I remember he tries to just walk right out afterwards, and Liz just like, no, get back in there. Like, it's just like, dude, like, seriously, after all of that, you're just gonna be like, hey, I'm good as new, So, that was, I mean, yeah, it's a little weird, but I mean, it's kind of cool, though, that Samson's like, hey, I'm good as new, I'm gonna walk out, I need some fresh air. Like, nah, dude, I don't care what revenge you gotta get, like, you can wait a little bit, And that's what Rhodes kind of doing as well, too. And I want to take a second here to actually acknowledge in this review, what in the frig has been going on with Rhodes? I mean, seriously, Season 2, he's like the biggest moron I've ever seen. And Season 3, he's like legitimately probably one of the best characters going. So that, A+. I mean, A+ to the writers, Wasteland, and, Matt and all them. Man, honestly, what you guys have done with this character, well, our lead, I mean, holy frig. So, keep this up, because this is the road I like. Season 2, well, we've been there, but Season 3, I like him so far. I think he's a very well-calculated, very, just very smart leader that knows what he's doing, and he knows what, he needs to do in order to keep the ones he cares about safe. So I like that. I think he's a really great character at this moment. So, all right, now, let's talk about the death of Bruce, because that's the other thing in this one that happens. So this was very brutal, and I know that according to Wasteland and according to Matt, they did have to actually cut some of this out because it was so brutal, which I can understand. But I don't know what to say, man, honestly. Wolfton, this absolutely crazy lunatic. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, though. I wouldn't put it past him that he would have done something like this. But just seeing him, and then they burn him, and then it just, oh man. Probably one of the darkest scenes I've seen in this show. I will give it to them. I think this is one of the darkest scenes I've seen. But again, I have not seen the alternate, like, extended version that apparently they did not include. That I do know that obviously there are a lot more things that go down. So it was a pretty brutal scene. I'll admit, it was a pretty brutal scene. And I remember when I was watching it, I'm just kind of like sitting there kind of shell-shocked. Because I don't know. I didn't know how to react to that, honestly. So, that was that. Now, let's talk about the final moments of this episode, which is obviously Mercer. Now, this character will be getting his own episode, so obviously we'll discuss more when he gets his own episode. But just for this one, I mean, man. Now, we do get to see, which is the other shocking moment in this episode, the guys from the Shattered Man, which is pretty interesting. Now, I'm forgetting their names. I don't know why. I have not seen Shattered Man for a little while, but I do remember these guys very well. And I think, honestly, this whole storyline here with Mercer, and now that he's being locked up by these guys, holy frig. And we know in episode 6, based off of the trailers, that in episode 6, he is going to be put in this kind of like arena, and he's going to have to kind of fight to the death with someone else. So that's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see that, and Mercer is definitely a character that I'm intrigued by. I'll say that. I'm intrigued in seeing what goes on with his characters. So that is my thoughts on this episode. Very crazy episode. Very good. Chill at some points. Crazy at other times. I'm going to give it an 8.5, right? I think an 8.5 is a good rating. I think an 8.5 for this episode is about what it deserves, I would say. It's a very well-done character episode, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here, guys. So, anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching the video. Write your comments in the comment section below. If you guys are new here, click on subscribe and tune up to some of my videos for Wasteland World. Follow Dan's Park Reviews, subscribe, guys, and of course, I'll see you guys really soon for another video for Wasteland World. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.